Welcome, everybody. Thank you for anyone that's tuning in right now. So, I get a request for this a lot. Not necessarily for a video, but it's definitely easier to make a video of it. Because I have a recipe up on my blog, but a lot of people still seem to kind of struggle with this. So, just thought I'll go ahead and show a video on how I mix up my Mendi powder. So the powder that I use is my Neeta blend henna powder, and it's the one that comes in the blue packaging. If you're not sure, you can take a look at the website at hiralhenna.com/shop. And this is a powder that's basically a mix of the Rajasthani and the Jamila Mendi. And obviously, it's a proprietary blend, so I don't really share how much is in there because that would sort of defeat the point of my blend that I sell. However, that is what I use on all my clients. So that's actually what I'll be mixing up today because it's for my clients that I have this week. So hopefully you guys can see everything really well. And just moving that so maybe you can also see the weight. So I'm just going to turn my scale on. I'm going to move everything a little farther away from the scale so nothing is touching it. And yeah, I believe you guys can see this number. So currently it's at 0 because it's already got the weight of the bowl. And I'm just going to put in 100 grams of powder because that's how much I'm going to be mixing up today. And honestly, as far as recipes go, I mean, I've tried a lot of things over the years, but in the end, I've made it as simple as possible, which at this point, it's basically a dump and go kind of recipe. So there, we kind of just have our 100 grams of powder. And then I have everything else measured out. So I'm just gonna put in the essential oil because that's the only other thing that I need to weigh. So I'm just checking the numbers here and just kind of eyeballing it to make sure I don't put in too much or too little. So you want to do about 100 grams of powder, and for 100 grams of powder you need to do about 30 milliliters or grams of oil, of essential oil. So not all oils it's a little hard to say. Not all oils are created equal. So you definitely need to make sure that you're using a good high quality essential oil that works for Mendi powder in particular so that it gets darker. So again, I just have like bulk quantities of everything, but this is like my BB stands for Bonnie Blend essential oil, which is what's in here that I just put. It basically contains eucalyptus, tea tree, and some lavender oil. And that is my favorite go-to scent for mixing up the powder, but not just the scent, it's actually just really good for giving the color as well. And fun fact, in case any of you tuning in don't know about this, the Neeta blend henna powder is actually named after this artist who I call my Mendi mom, and then the Bonnie blend essential oil that I use. So basically, my go-to products, the essential oil blend Bonnie. Bonnie is actually my mom's name. She also does Mendi as well. She was obviously the first Mendi artist that I knew and have learned the most from. But and she also does Mendi under my business name as well. She's my lead artist in Michigan. But anyway, a lot of my products in my business are actually named after women in my life that have influenced me. So I just find them, very inspirational, and I kind of wanted to do something. I have a couple other products named after my grandmas as well. So there's a fun fact. But anyway, so we've thrown in the oil, we've thrown in the powder. You also want to put in some sugar if you like your paste to be sticky, which I definitely do. Now, the rest of this is just dump and go. There's no measuring because I've already measured it out. So the sugar, there was about 45 grams of sugar in there. And again, these are the recipes that work or this is the recipe that works for me based on where I live and what consistency of Mendi I like. But you should definitely play around with it a little bit and do what works for you. So this is just some bottled lemon juice. It's just whatever, I get in bulk. It's not like a particular brand or anything. So that also I've measured out. It's about 140 milliliters of lemon juice. So again, I'm just going to dump it all in there. Make sure you get every last drop. And at this point, you can just try and basically mix everything up. And you know, for the purposes of these videos, I use these spatulas on video, but in real life, I'm honestly mixing up much larger batches in this, and I'm just dumping everything in my KitchenAid bowl and hitting the switch on that. So I don't actually sit there and do this for the most part. So if it ever looks like I'm being really awkward while trying to mix it on camera, it's because I never really do this in real life. So cut me some slack, guys. So you can already see it's starting to come together. But as you can see, it's pretty thick and it's not really, you know, the ideal consistency or even close to what it is that we're looking for. So I'm just basically trying to make sure I get all that powder. Basically don't want any powder just kind of left behind without the liquid having touched it and taken it in. So just mix it in. For the most part, it looks like we've got most of the powder in there. And at this point, you could totally just leave it. You could just cover this and like leave this overnight and see what your mehndi looks like in the morning. But I have just really perfected this at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and just dump my water in there as well. The reason some people like to do this in the morning is like, you know, it's nice and thick and you can just leave it that way. And a lot of the clumps that are in there right now, they'll kind of melt away on their own. Maybe melt isn't even the right word. They'll just kind of dissolve away later at some point. So if you wanted, you could leave it this consistency and then just let time do some of the work and then thin it out in the morning. But I kind of know the amount of water that I like. So I usually mix in about 80 milliliters of water or 80 grams. I just measure everything in grams at this point because it's a little easier. Not counting the weight of the spatula, of course. So there's about 313 grams right now in there. And then I would just put in another 80 milliliters or grams of water. If you're not sure how much you like, start with that much and then you can add in more water and thin it out a little bit more if you still feel like it's too thick for you. I personally tend to like about 100 milliliters of water, but I do know that my paste can sometimes be a little bit too thin for other people. So definitely start with just about 80 grams or maybe even 75. Play with it and see what works for you. So you could even just leave it like this at this point. If you wanted to leave it like this overnight and come back to it in the morning, you could also definitely do that. You can just keep folding it nicely. Like basically fold the liquid into the henna paste, if that makes sense, and it's gonna keep getting to the better consistency that you're looking for. So if you can see too, I left some of the water in there. I didn't add all of it in there. Because sometimes if it's just like too much water all at once, it just splashes out when you're trying to mix it together. So you can just play all of that by ear based on the bowl you're using or even how you're mixing it. I'm just gonna pick this up so it's a little easier. Okay, so for now, this is it. I think I'm gonna leave the video off here. There are a couple more steps that I would ideally show you to like but basically before the mehndi is like really ready to use, I would ideally like to show you in another video that I'll try to hop on and do another live for. Basically, I would, make sure the consistency is perfect, which once all these clumps are gone, then I can show you the perfect consistency that I personally test for in my mehndi. And then I also would like to show you how to put this in a carrot bag or a large pastry bag. And I also strain the mehndi before I do that. So there are a few more videos I think I can break it down and show you for preparing basically your mehndi for your appointments or even just for yourself. But I hope you guys enjoyed tuning into this video. At this point, I would just kind of leave it, cover it up so you don't lose too much moisture, and then come back in the morning and check the consistency at that point. And I usually just leave my water there with it so that, because I already measured it out, so then I know how much I want to add if I want to add any at all. So hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please leave them in a comment below, or you can find me on Instagram at Hiral Henna or at shop Hiral Henna. Or you can also shoot me an email at hiralhenna.com. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.